Okay, now we're going to get started on the next 16 bar section of this tune. We're going to call it section 2, just for the sake of organizing these sections. What we just went through was section 1. Before that, the rhythm part, the first 16 bars of rhythm, we're not going to really refer to that by number. We'll just consider that to be the intro, the rhythmic intro, just for the sake of categorizing these different parts so we can refer to them as a whole. This will be section 2. Now it gets a little more active in this section, okay? It moves up the neck a little bit higher. It's a little bit more active here. So we're going to take this again in 4-bar phrases, 4-bar chunks for the most part, all right? So let's start off with the first 4 bars. Okay, so now let's break that down and go through it. We start off similar to the start of the last section. Okay, now I'll slide from 7 up to 9. First string 7th fret. And then a slide on the 2nd string from 9 up to 11. Again, all these notes are within the B major scale, all right? Again, a lot of this does go along the horizontal plane as if he was just playing the major scale up and down a single string, like on the 2nd string, for instance, open, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th, 12th. The B major scale up the 2nd string, so again, you know, there's different ways that you could finger this and different places on the neck that you could play these notes, okay? This is just one example. Again, I'm trying to come close to the way he played it. But you could absolutely still play these notes in a different place on the fretboard and it would still be the same song. It would still be always with me, always with you. So anyway, one more time, starting off on the 2nd string. Now we get into this little lick, which is a little bit faster. All right, going back and forth between these two notes, 9th fret of the 1st string, 12th fret of the 2nd string. And then on the 1st string. The way I finger that is like this, because that gives me my 3rd finger here to do a whole step bend on the 12th fret of the 1st string. So we have this. After that, all right, 11 on the 1st string, 14 on the 2nd string, and then another whole step bend. And don't forget to get your other fingers behind the finger that's doing the bend for reinforcement, just so you can get plenty of strength behind the bend so it gets in tune properly. So here's the faster part of that lick. All right, so hear that whole phrase one more time. One more time. Now you can hear there's a lot of vibrato going on too. Whenever there's a pause, trying to throw in a little bit of finger vibrato. Again, just trying to imitate the inflections that he uses, all right? So you might want to concentrate on just getting the notes down first and then try adding some of the vibrato in later, but it definitely is present. You know, whenever you have a moment where you're just kind of hanging on a note, you know, just go ahead and give it a little bit of finger vibrato. Just make it sound a little more alive, you know, a little more voice-like, which is pretty sure what he was going for here. Okay, so now for the next phrase, we move even further up the neck. So we're up here in the area of the 16th fret, 16th position. So here's the next 4-bar phrase. Okay, so what we have here, we start off with a half step bend, 18th fret on the 1st string. Half step bend, just bend of 1 fret. Release of the bend, pull off, the 16. Fretted note, 19th fret on the 2nd string. By the way, now we're in the same fingering of the scale that we started out in, okay? The fingering of B major that I showed you earlier in the lesson. We're now up in the same fingering, just up an octave, up 12 frets. So in 16th position, you have the same exact fingering. Just an octave higher, obviously. So that's kind of the area that we're in now. We're sort of working around these notes. So again, we start out here with the 18th fret, half step bend. Release of the bend, pull off. 2nd string, 19th fret, okay? Back to the 18th fret of the 1st string. It's like maybe a real tiny little bend, almost like a quarter step bend, just a really small bend. Back to 2nd string, 19th fret. first string 16, then a whole step bend of the 19th fret. 19th fret normal, and then a whole step bend of the second string 17th fret. Okay, so here's that whole 4-bar phrase again. So what you actually want to do at that very first note is what you call a pre-bend. Okay, you kind of bend the string a half step, and then you pick it, and then you release the bend. Again, most books call that a pre-bend. Okay, magazines too. All right, so anyway, pre-bend that first note. Maybe just a little bit of touch of a bend on that note. Okay, and I went pretty heavy on the vibrato on that last note. You know, Satriani uses the whammy bar quite a bit. He may have been applying a little bit of whammy bar to that note. This guitar obviously doesn't have a whammy bar, okay, but the whammy bar really isn't a big factor in this tune. There's a couple spots where I think he probably uses it. You can definitely get away with not having one. But in the little spots in this tune where I think it comes into play, I'll just mention it briefly, just in case you have a whammy bar on your guitar and you want to try to imitate what he's doing. Okay, now on to the next phrase. This next phrase is a little bit shorter, all right? So I'm just going to go ahead and play it for you, then we'll talk about it. So what we have here is a series of pull-offs and then a slide on the first string. So you want to get all your fingers prepared on the first string ahead of time. I got my first finger at 12, second finger at 14, 15, and 16. All right? All the fingers are fretted in preparation. Pluck the string. Pull off all the fingers one at a time, and then slide back to the 11th fret once you're done. So that initial note sustains just for a moment, and then it should sound very fluid and even going all the way down to this note at the 11th fret. And then after that, 14th fret, pull off from 12 to 11, and then we end up here on the 14th fret of the second string. Here's that short little phrase one more time. Again. Okay, now the next phrase is a shorter phrase too, okay? This is a kind of a bluesy sounding lick, really like this lick. It's up here in the same position we were just in. I'll go ahead and play it for you, then we'll talk about it. One more time. Okay, so again, this real bluesy sounding lick starts off with the pinky, 19th fret on the first string. And then we come up here and we do a bend on the third string at the 18th fret. Again, it's kind of like a pre-bend. Almost a whole step, maybe not quite a whole step, but close. All right. And then after that, we have this. Okay, 18th fret on the first string. Back to the 16th fret on the third string. And then this, 16th fret on the first string. Back to 16 on the third string. So here's what we have so far. All right, followed by a bend here, second string, 19th fret. Release of the bend, and then one more time. So here's that whole lick. Again.